Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this is the July's version, July 6th of the live Q&A for CPR instructors. My name is KIRK MOTE, and you are on with the one and only Tim Smith. Tim, how you doing today?
KIRK, I'm doing great. Always good to talk with you and be on here. I'm good. How are you?
Doing great, man. I mean, how was your fourth? I mean, you do anything fun?
Oh, I got young kids. I got a 9-year-old and 6-year-old. So we do the fireworks, spend some time with family, grill out. It's all good.
Not any rain? I mean, it rained down here on us.
No, Minnesota was beautiful. Perfect, actually.
Awesome.
Couldn't have been any better.
Have you ever been in a plane like on July 4th by chance?
I don't think so. I
Okay,
don't think so.
I've done it once.
That would be cool to be able to see from above.
I've done it once, and it was absolutely incredible. I mean, I would highly recommend it. If literally the whole flight is like an evening flight, so it's all pitch black, but you can see all the fireworks. It's really cool.
That would be cool.
Yeah. But yeah, no, we had fireworks on, I guess, Saturday the 2nd. We had fireworks on Sunday the 3rd, and then it was absolute stormy down here, so there weren't a whole lot of options. We brought out some sprinklers. I keep on calling them sprinklers. Sparklers.
Oh yeah.
We did sparklers, and then the second we lit them, I mean, the bucket just dropped. I mean, it was like perfect timing. I was like, cool. But yeah, we ran the Peachtree Road Race. Have you heard of that?
No, I haven't. Tell me.
So the Peachtree Road Race is, I want to say, probably the largest 10K in the world. In Atlanta, Georgia, put on by the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, and it is, I mean, I want to say there was like 40,000 people. I mean, it was massive.
Wow.
So I did it this year with my brother, my wife, my other brother, and ran into a lot of people that we knew, and it was a lot of fun. So it's become a tradition.
Very cool. How'd you do?
I mean, well, it took me an hour and a half, and like the caveat is I ran it with a 20-pound weight vest. So
look at you,
so I wouldn't recommend it because I mean it was pretty challenging. But that was my goal. I said I want to do 15-minute miles with a 20-pound vest for the whole thing. So when you look up online, I use someone else's number. So if you're really curious, I can tell you the name to look under. But it was exactly 1 hour, 30 minutes, and 0 seconds. I was like, all right.
I think that's very good.
Yeah. So it was fun. But hey, listen, we're here to talk about some questions and give some answers for CPR instructors. And the first question I have, because I get this a lot, I'm not sure if you get this a lot or not, but when we go to do CPR, like the compression portion of CPR and the training, people are like, dude, do I have to go on the ground? So, like, let's just answer this once and for all. Is it a requirement to perform CPR on the ground?
That's a really good question, and I'm glad you brought that up because, yeah, I get that a lot too. I mean, obviously, it depends on the class, the age of the participants, so on and so forth. But yeah, a lot of people just want to do it on a table. It's not even they have to; they just want to. And to my knowledge, this actually is an ADA thing. So
right.
That if somebody can't get on the ground, then you have to provide reasonable accommodations. So with that said, obviously, I mean, most people in your class, they're going to be able to get on the ground. They might not want to. Highly, highly encourage it. You want to make your training as realistic as possible. Now, maybe they're healthcare personnel, and maybe you do have it up on a bed with a hardboard underneath. I mean, you can make that call. Or that can be your other option. But yeah, we have run into that, and you do need to be able to allow those people to. And then to play devil's advocate, the argument always is, well, if they can't get on the ground, how can we, in our right mind, give them a card? And I can kind of see that argument, but again, there's the most important part of CPR is compressions. We all know that, but there are many other components, and being able to recognize, call 911, be able to do it in a bed. If you are a healthcare provider, there's a lot of other things you can do. And again, is it federal ADA?
Americans with Disability Act. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the act of, I want to say 1990. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So someone can fact check me on that. But yeah, Americans with Disabilities Act, the ADA is what he was referring to earlier. And like Yeah, I mean, you just want to make my goal, and your goal is, hey, look, I want you to feel confident
Yep.
that you can properly respond in an emergency situation. That's my whole goal as a CPR instructor, that you feel confident that you can properly respond. No one's going to collapse nice and neat for you on this table that we're working on. And realistically, I want to say it's like 80% of out of hospital cardiac arrests happen at home. When I say 80, I think it's like technically 70 at home and like 10 in nursing homes. Nursing home is technically a home, so I'm just going to compile it into one. So 80% of out of hospital cardiac arrests happen at home. Someone you know, someone you love. And oftentimes they feel like they're having indigestion. So guess where they're going? The bathroom. And so that's oftentimes where people are found, slumped over in the bathroom. So this is something to be aware of. And so if that's the case, you're going to have to bring them to the ground, like get behind them if they're not on the ground already, and underneath their elbows, and just kind of pull them off of a chair off the commode. Maybe they're on the bed. You can't give compressions on the bed, right?
Right.
You can't give compressions on the sofa.
Or a recliner. Yep. Those are questions all come up. Yeah.
Right.
You're right. I mean, so my background is I used to work on the ambulance for St. Paul Fire Department. And yeah, I would say most of the cardiac arrests we worked were in a bathroom. And how big are many bathrooms, right? And it's just,
Right.
it's a good thing to kind of prep people for, is that, hey, we're doing this training. We're trying to make it as realistic as possible, but keep in mind this, and that is, going to be probably what happens in real life.
And you'll have a little bit of adrenaline, especially if you don't do this every day like you did for a while, right? As a firefighter, like you see this kind of stuff on a daily basis. But for someone who doesn't see this on a daily basis, your adrenaline's going to probably be pumping. You're going to be like, all right, what did Tim teach me? How do I do this again?
Yeah.
And so, you might have that little moment of hesitation, but look, you're going to respond how you train. And so when you train properly, which I know Tim does a great job of training, then you're going to want to you're going to like snap into action. You're going to be, oh yeah, okay, scene safety. You call 911. Hey, are you okay? If you're BLS or whatever, maybe you're checking for a pulse. But if you're a lay rescuer, you're this. Most important thing is what? Compressions, right?
Get in there. Yep.
Yeah, you are the blood pressure of the victim. So I'm sorry, I'm getting into teacher mode over here.
Yeah, no, so the short answer is, to my knowledge, and yeah, somebody can fact check, but I believe it's a requirement that if somebody has a disability or a physical or some kind of legit reason why they can't get on the ground, you do need to provide a table or something for them. Yep. But make it as realistic as possible, like we just said, and try to get them on the ground if you can.
Love it. Cancellation policies. I know I get asked this all the time. Okay, we set up a class. They said that they were going to come, and number one, they didn't collect payment. But there's so many things. Can you kind of talk through maybe your processes a little bit, just so when it comes to cancellation, when it comes to booking, when it comes to scheduling? I would love to hear your philosophy there.
Yeah, and there's a lot to unpack here. So
sure.
I'll just get going and feel free
to
jump in. But so there's multiple different ways to look at this. So one would be like if you're doing public or community type classes, people are registering in advance. And you kind of touched on it, before. And a common question is, do I need to collect payment up front? Should I? Shouldn't I? Obviously, any of this stuff, this is just opinion. I mean, you do what you think is best for you and your business. I've been doing it for a long time, and I've done it all. I've done cash only, pay at the time of class. After I've done it all. And my personal experience, I believe very firmly that you really should collect payment, at least especially for community classes like that, where they're coming to a regularly scheduled course up front. Because it holds them accountable. Otherwise, they're just like, I don't feel like coming today. I don't, whatever. You thought there was going to be 12 people in class, 10 people, 8, it depends on the class and everything. And, it was a full class, you thought, and you're turning people away. Oh, no, only 2 show up. It's just, it gets so messy. And so I really think when it comes to that, like the onesie twosie type of people, you got to collect up front. Now, getting to the core question when it comes to that cancellation policy, what if you collect their money and they say, I can't come for whatever reason? This, again, a lot of different ways you can slice it. I believe firmly in good customer service, right? And we're all kind of getting used to, everybody uses Amazon, right? We do Amazon, we do this, we do that. I don't know if you've ever had to make a return or get a refund for Amazon. Super easy, and it's like, okay, that was good. So my personal opinion is you want to try to make it easy. Make your policies known up front. You don't want people disputing charges with your bank. That's a whole nother thing. So I personally believe, and we try to give full refunds when, if at all possible. But again, there's blended type courses. There's a lot of variables. What if you issued out a key code, you're out $30, right? They activate the key code, they do it, and then they're not going to come. You do want to protect yourself from stuff like that. You shouldn't be on the hook, kind of just bleeding money for any of the customers. You want to do everything you can, but you also got to protect yourself. So I think it's important to have terms and conditions, which include cancellation and what that means for refunds. So
And I'll
that's
tell you, yeah, I
I'll
love that because
get corporate next, but I want to hear. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, no. So for me, I do no refunds for no shows, right? Very simple. If you pay for a class and you don't show up, guess what? I still had to pay an instructor to show up to teach you, whether you showed up or not. So absolutely, I had no refunds for no shows.
Okay.
So that's just me personally. But guess what? Again, that's a policy, and what that means is they know on the front end, so there's no frustration on the back end. Okay,
Yeah, just making one up front. Do you let them reschedule then?
Absolutely, I let them reschedule, but
yeah.
I'm billing them for us another time.
You pay it
because
a different time. Yeah,
exactly. So, but the biggest thing here is what I do want to hit on is, hey, guess what? Since it's a policy, you're the business owner. You can make exceptions.
certainly.
And so that's what I love about having the policy. I communicate it up front so everyone is aware of their roles and responsibilities. So there's no frustration on the back end. And when and if that does happen, then we can just point them to, hey, the invoice, the contract, the confirmation, the verbal, the text, everything that's said, no refunds for no shows. And they're like, okay, yeah, you're right. But if there's a crazy situation, like, I mean, act of God obviously is going to be out. I'm going to make sure that we're going to refund them, or maybe not refund them, but say, hey, we're going to allow you to reschedule free of cost, and so something like that. And so as the business owner, you have the right to make exceptions. So policies are there to protect you, but policies are also there to make you look really, really good. So, hey, normally we don't do refunds for no shows, but for you, because of what you just told me, I want to make an exception. Always tell them you're going to make an exception, because people expect things nowadays. But if you use the words, hey, for you, I want to make an exception. That's so powerful. And then they're going to make sure you get a review from a 5-star review. Always ask for a 5-star review. Yep. Always ask.
Yeah, I like that. And that's good. I hate to use the term scare tactic, but that's a little bit of what I do. We have terms and conditions that say if you cancel at this point in time, there is a fee. And don't tell the public, but we don't charge the fee. It's just there to, so there's lots of ways to play. But yes, then you as the owner can say, not going to charge you a fee, even though it says it here, and people will love you for it. So you hit the nail on the head.
Now, Tim, how do you invoice people?
Good question. Yeah. So when it comes to like corporate clients, a lot of times you're going on site or off site, however you want to phrase it. You're going to their location, and you might not know exactly how many people. You might not have the roster. Most people will invoice afterwards, and that's what I would suggest too. There's a million different invoicing program softwares. I mean, you can pick one. There's even free things. So find something that works for you. But then, yes, you want to make it known up front. Should you or should you not sign a contract? There's always lots of discussion on that. I'd be interested to know what you do, Kirk. I personally do not. We have lots of email communications, lots of upfront talk on the phone. I've never really had much problem in 12 years if you just have good communications, where you have to have every corporate client sign a contract. Now there's exceptions, but then it's invoice after the class. But the big thing is, again, you want to protect yourself. I can't tell you how many times I've seen it just personally or in like Facebook groups and everything else. I thought there was going to be 20 people. I had 3 instructors. There was 4. Right. Or they didn't show up. That goes back to what we said at the beginning, is you need to protect yourself. You can't just, again, bleed for the client. You have to let them know up front that if we come, here is how much the minimum charge is.
Yeah. So you mentioned there's all kinds of options out there, right? And like I use QuickBooks. I'm actually throwing a link if you're interested. Check out QuickBooks.
Yeah, QuickBooks is great. I've used that. Also, Zoho Books. Zoho is a good
Okay.
kind of option. I would say people can check out if they're looking for options.
I think this link that I threw in here gives you 40% off for the first 6 months. So it's like one of those promo things. So take advantage of it if you're interested. I love QuickBooks. It has an app. You could do it on your phone. And so your question to me, Tim, was, okay, Kirk, how do you do it, right?
Yeah.
So it depends on the situation, right? So we do skill sessions, and those are for like the public. So any onesie twosies can sign up and come to our physical location and say, hey, look, I want to take the BLS skill session or ACLS skill session, the PAL skill session, or whatever it is, right?
Yep.
And so, or we even do heart saver, right? Upon request. And so they're going to pay for the class up front. And then when they show up, having previously completed the online portion, because we have people that show up and have not completed.
Sure do.
And so that's considered a no-show. So they'll have to reschedule, repay according to our policies, right? And then that is a public class. That is a one-off person coming to your location. They're paying up front. Now, when it comes to corporate clients, I most certainly 100% of the time have a contract in place. And that I use something called
an e-sign thing.
Yeah, like PandaDoc. Have you?
Yeah.
I think I've sent you a PandaDoc before. So PandaDoc is awesome. You can make some really sexy like proposals, very easy, like drag and drop, all the beautiful things, right? Pictures, videos, whatever you want, as well as ways to, as soon as they sign it, it automatically, makes them, invoices them, which is pretty cool. So now oftentimes corporate clients aren't going to pay until the job is done, net 30, 60, sometimes 90, which is,
Yep.
But it happens. It happens. And guess what? If you can get those type of clients, they're pretty good. The harder it is to get a client, the easier it is to keep them. In my experience. I don't know.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Absolutely. So you do it for every single corporate client. So whether it's 6 or 600 people.
100%, 100%. Because
probably your smart side, I would say. Yeah.
And really, the reason why is because I've done it enough to where we've scheduled a full class of 12 people, and one person showed up. That happened one time, and never again.
Yep.
Okay.
It just takes once. Yeah, you got to learn. Yep.
Right. So what we do is we bill per class. And that is up to a certain point. Maybe it's a full class of 12 people. Guess what? It is on them as the client to, get their people to show up on time. And so that's how we have structured it on our end when it comes to corporate clients. And so it's worked out well. And guess what? I have yet to be on a corporate client situation where 100% of the people that are registered actually showed up. So it's a nice way to kind of give you a little bonus, honestly, if you think about it that way.
Yep. Yeah. Kind of a good cover your butt thing too for you. Everything. It's signed. It's not just an email chain. It's look at this. Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, no matter what, make sure you're covering yourself for sure.
100%. Hey, I did want to give a little announcement. I'm throwing this link in the chat too. This is a link to the IRS.gov. People are like, Kirk, why are we talking about the IRS? So the IRS just increased your mileage deduction from 0.585 to 0.625 cents per mile, which is awesome. So as a business owner, I know a lot of CPR instructors on the whole are real passionate about teaching people how to save lives and kind of forego the business side. So I wanted to bring up this business side for CPR instructors here today. And that is, hey, the mileage has changed. That means, and by the way, it's only from July 1st to the end of the year, which is kind of interesting to me. I think that they're obviously planning that it's going to be an election year, and they're going to make the gas prices go down. That is my, full-fledged prediction. Yep. You heard it here first. But all that to say is between July 1st and December 31st, you can now deduct 0.625 cents per mile that you drive. And guess what? That is tax deductible. So you drive 1,000 miles, this next month or whatever, that's $625 that you get to put back into your pocket without any taxes at all. So it's a beautiful thing. Check with your accountant about it before you start doing things on your own. But I wanted to make sure you were aware of that. Let's see here. Oh, the second to last thing I wanted to mention was a lot of people have been reaching out to me about setting up their business as a nonprofit, Tim. And so this is really interesting to me because while, I've talked to you about this and it's like, hey, CPR instructors are passionate about teach people how to save lives, right? But they don't know a whole lot about business. And so that's kind of where we came in and started creating business management for CPR instructors. And really, I was like, man, why are we setting people up as businesses when we can set them up as nonprofits and people can get a tax deduction every time that they purchase through this particular company? And so we've had a whole host of people reach out to us asking, okay, how do we set up a nonprofit? And so if that's something that you're interested in, I would love to, have a conversation with you. Either reach out to myself or Tim. Tim can, email, connect us, to me, and then we'll set you up. I mean, it's a very easy process. The way it works is typically, I mean, it takes a long time to get approved, blah, 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 but we have a partnership with a bigger organization that is a nonprofit that sets up fiscal sponsorships. So Pass the Pulse is a fiscal sponsorship under our partner, and that allows us to immediately get rocking and rolling within days and operating as a nonprofit instantaneously, and which is awesome. So just want to throw that out there. I know I'm hogging a little bit of the
Oh
airspace.
this is all good. This is good stuff. If anyone's listening here that way, you should reach out to Kirk. I think a lot of people don't probably understand what nonprofit means because I've thought, and looked, and other people have said things like, oh, well, if I'm a nonprofit, that means I can't make any profit. I'm not going to make any money, right? And that's not the case. There's a lot of education to do in there. Like if you think about it, the Red Cross, they're a very big nonprofit, right? They their people are paid. You would still be paid too. It's just a different structure. And so
Right.
learning that and having that partnership, like you said, Kirk, that's the key because there are a lot of nuances, a lot of legalities and things to make sure that you're on top of. You can do it yourself. You absolutely can. But having a partner who's been there and is trusted, yeah, that's key.
I couldn't agree with you more, Tim, because to your point, like the first time that we got, someone was trying to donate a car to us, I was like, I don't know how to take a car as a donation. Guess what?
Right.
These guys did. They
Right.
know how to take cars. They know how to take land. They know how to do crypto donations. They literally do. They literally do any kind of donations. Help you convert it to cash, to go into your nonprofit on fiscal sponsorship, and then I mean it. They even do all of the background checks on the donation. So they're auditing the people that are donating so it covers you. And so it's not like a terrorist organization or anything like embezzlement or anything like that. So it's an extra layer of protection for you as well, which is I was like, I'm sold. Let's go.
Yeah. Totally worth looking into. Absolutely.
Well, hey, listen, one of my last questions here, I guess, is about discounts. I know a lot of times, people talk about discounting the prices. I'll say my, opinion to after you. I want to hear what you have to say. But what is your philosophy when it comes to providing discounts to people?
Yeah, and there's a lot of varying opinions on this, and to each their own. Mine, I think, echoes yours a little bit, but you've got to value yourself and what you provide. And a lot of people give discounts. They're just trying to get their, I call it racing to the bottom. They're trying to be the lowest price, thinking that that is the core thing people look for, and it is for some. But you would be surprised if you up your prices. You're not going to lose customers usually. You have to play around with it. But so I, generally speaking, with a blanket statement, we don't really do discounts. No, we this is where our value is, and this is why. And then be prepared to back it up. If somebody says, "Well, do you offer a discount, or can you work with me? Our last instructor did this or that." You're really good at this, Kirk. Having that how to answer those questions and being prepared for it. Now, again, you're the business owner. There are exceptions, right? What military this or you. There are times to give discounts, and maybe it's a super huge client. If you can just get them and you really think doing this will do it, sure, maybe you do it, but generally speaking, I don't.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and I agree with you 100%. Like, so people buy not because of price, they buy because of value. And they buy when value exceeds price. So when they are convinced that the value that you're providing and presenting to them exceeds the amount that they're paying for. Think about the book that you buy for $20. I believe that I'm going to find a little nugget in there in that book for $20. It's going to be worth 2,000 if I apply it properly, right? So that's how I look at buying books. Same thing with CPR training. Like when Tim says, "Hey, look, it costs X amount of dollars for your BLS renewal," I'm thinking to myself, "Man, okay, that allows me to keep my job as a healthcare professional. That allows me to know the updated information. That allows me to feel more confident because I really haven't pumped on a mannequin's chest in 4 years." And so, like, these are all the value proposition that you're going to be able to present to whoever you're training as a CPR instructor. But yeah, I would never discount prices. Now, speaking of discounted prices, my prices are not cheap at all. Like I don't play the Walmart game. Why? Because you're, to your point, you're racing to the bottom, and that's the type of clientele you're going to get. The type of clientele that's going to nickel and dime you and be frustrated. And I literally had someone call me the other day. I kid you not. I'm going to share this story. So this is great. You're going to love it. Lady calls me up. She goes, "Hey, I needed information on BLS." I was like, "All right, cool. What can I get you information on?" And she says, "Well, I need to schedule a class." I was like, "Excellent. What day works best for you?" And then so she tells me, I was like, "Awesome. I'm going to send you an invoice for this amount." She goes, I said it was $52 for the skill session. And I was like, "You're going to be paying $31.50, I think, or $32.50, whatever it was for the online portion." And she goes, $85. She's like yelling at me on the phone. I was like, "Yes, ma'am." She goes, "What are you making up prices?" She started yelling at me. I was like, "No, ma'am." I was like, "I guess technically I'm making up prices. I mean, we all make up prices." And then she just started like this going off on me. I was like, "Hey, listen, let me ask you, how much do you normally pay for a service like this?" "Not $85. So I asked her again. I was like, "Well, what do you normally pay?" Didn't answer. I had to ask her 3 times. She finally said $35. It's like, "Ma'am, I think you need to go." Oh no, she just got through telling me that she's been doing this for 25 years. I was like, and then she said it was $35. Like, "Ma'am, I'm going to be honest with you. Prices have changed over a quarter century." I straight said that to her, and she goes, "Oh, well, I'm not paying $85. Like, you know what? That's perfectly fine. I think you should go back to the person that you paid $35 to."
Yep.
And the other thing too is she says, "I'm not paying $30 or $85 for the card." So to me, that's telling me that she's buying from a CPR instructor who's not even doing the class,
Quite
who is
possibly.
charging
Or
$35 for a card.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if you're seeing this at all, but I'm hearing about it more often, and it's not a game I'm willing to play at all because I don't know about you, but I have my responsibility is to make sure you feel properly prepared to respond in an emergency situation, and that doesn't happen by saying, "Oh, you've been in the medical industry for 25 years. Here's a card."
Yeah, no way.
No.
Yep. Yeah, I've heard, but we haven't really been encountering that in any of our areas where people come
That's good.
and kind of ask, or, "Hey, can you just give me a card?" Or no, but I have heard that happens.
So she hangs up on me, and at the end of the hanging up on me, I get a call the midday next morning. She shows up to my office. Like, obviously, we didn't have classes during that time, so I get a call saying, "Hey, I'm here at the office." I was like, "Who are you?" And it was like the same lady from yesterday. I was like, "Oh, you hung up on me last night." She goes, "Oh yeah, we did talk last night." I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "What are you doing there?" She goes, "Well, I'm here for a class." I was like, "Did you check the schedule online where you found our address?" Nope. So then she signs up for a class for $85.
Oh, full circle. I mean,
I'm like, look, it was a great situation. I absolutely love it. Anyway,
That
all to say is, like, I don't negotiate my prices merely because I know the value of what I'm providing, and people will, especially in today's day and age, you got to be able to, pay for your credit card processing. You got to pay for your back office things that you do, right? You got to be able to pay your instructor if you're not doing it yourself. You got to be able to pay for your location that you're having the class at. There's so many expenses. So if you're charging $35 and you're paying $5 of those dollars for the card, is $30 going to be enough for you to show up for one person?
Right. Yep. Yeah, that I always encourage people. You got to think of all of your costs, knowing your numbers and figuring that out, and then understanding what you need to charge and where your value is. That's where you need to start. And a lot of people, they worry, oh well, how can I compete with the Red Cross or the big competitor A or B over here who's got so much web traffic and this and that. They think the only way they can compete is with lower prices, but there's a lot more to value than that.
Yeah.
Most people, like, eh, if I have a class that's convenient and close to me, will I pay $15, $20 more for that? Because yeah, I want to take it on a Monday night and not on a Saturday morning, right?
Right.
You
Right.
can cater to your clients and add value for your company in a lot of other ways. Plus, the other thing too, I don't know about you, Kirk, but if you ever use it, yeah, you probably don't, but if you use contractor for something, right? A plumber, electrician, a whatever. Most people, they'll price things out, right? And some people do that with CPR. But if I get a plumber who says it's going to cost you $20, and then plumber B and C say it's going to be between $200 and $300, I'm thinking, what am I getting here with this
Right.
local cost? I don't really trust it, and so I'm going to go with a higher price.
I will choose a higher price over lower price every single time. And it was funny. I think it was, I forget who told me this, but I was talking to a buddy of mine, I guess works at Lamborghini or something. And we're like, hey, why don't you ever have any commercials on TV? He goes, because our customers don't watch TV. I was like, oh, that's awesome. I was like, do you go to where your customers are? Right. I was like,
Yeah,
that is a big business,
good thinking.
boom, right? So same thing here. I mean, with your, CPR training, go to where your clients are. If you know who you're serving and the problem you're solving, put those two together, man, that is a powerful marketing combination that you're going to be able to hyper focus on who you need to talk to.
Good stuff. Absolutely.
Love it. Well, hey, listen, I think we're coming to the end of our time here. I think we hit a lot of topics. I hope this was beneficial to everyone. We are doing this every month. So the first Wednesday of every month. So we will be seeing you next first Wednesday of June, July, August. Let me just pull that up because I want to make sure I'm telling the numbers correctly here. Do you have the date?
It looks like August 3rd to me.
August 3rd.
Sir.
August 3rd, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or what time zone are you in?
11 Central.
11 Central. Love it. Love it. Absolutely love it. Well, I hope you got some value out of this. We'll be here next month talking about your questions. So if you do have any questions, feel free to write us individually on Facebook, smoke signals, whatever you got to do. We'll answer your questions, and we'll see you next month.
Always a pleasure, Kirk. Thanks. See you, everybody.
Good to see you.